Evening, Gasheads. Welcome back to another episode of the Talking Gas podcast. First of all, hope you're all well. Feels obviously quite weird because we didn't have a game on the weekend, obviously postponed due to a frozen pitch against Crewe. But yeah, back for episode 12. Hope everyone's doing well on this Thursday evening. As always, if you're watching live or you're watching back on the replay, do leave a like. If we can get 50 likes, that would be class. Do subscribe if you're new on the way to 7,000 subscribers, so keep up the quality support. Follow the socials, our Instagram and Twitter for the Talking Gas podcast is in the description, just going along the bottom of your screen, so give us a follow on there if you haven't already. But yeah, plenty of stuff to dive into. Of course, talk about Matt Taylor, talk about the Crawley game. Obviously, Darrell Clarke is returning to the Mem as we face Cheltenham. We've also got a journalist, Cheltenham journalist, who's coming on at around 8:25, so that should be a really good insight from Jon Palmer. So yeah, let's get into it. As always, drop your questions, drop the likes, subscribe, and yeah, welcome, Neil. Yeah, how are you doing on this Thursday evening?
I'm all right, mate. You? Joey's been busy, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's all been a bit mad, but yeah, good to be back on, of course. And also, if anyone is thinking on Sunday, obviously we've got the Crewe replay on Tuesday. We won't be doing another preview. We'll be talking about most of the stuff anyway. So we'll be back next Thursday, and we'll discuss the Crewe game, the Cheltenham game in that, and obviously the Bolton preview as well. So but yeah, evening to Chris tuning in, Q Galore as well. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Like I said, get your questions, comments, any thoughts, get them in the chat, and we will go over them as we do. But yeah, Neil, of course, the big talking point we'll go on to in a sec. I just wanted to quickly get your thoughts on the Crawley game. I don't know if you watched it. I don't know if you've seen the highlights. I just want to quickly get your thoughts. Obviously, Taylor's first game is a loss. What did you make of that? If you've seen anything or heard anything from that game?
Yeah, well, I won't lie. You know my thoughts on that competition anyway. But it was on. But to say I was watching it is a bit of a broad statement. It was on, but it was on the telly. Yeah. But I'd be lying if I said I watched it. But if truth be told, since his appointment, if I'm Taylor and I'm looking at it sort of objectively from the day he's taken over to now, everything, including the result, has gone perfect for him, for me, because he's come in the building. The Crewe game has been postponed, which is perfect because he gets more time on the grass with the lads. Yeah. He gets to just analyse what he's got, and it's nothing to do with looking at how good players are. He's just going to be testing characters and personalities and seeing where he is with people, to be honest. And then you obviously go into Crawley, and for me, that couldn't have gone any better for Taylor, that game, Crawley, because that, in a nutshell, in 4 or 5 minutes, however long it was, that is our season in a nutshell. He's got to know everything he needs to know in that time. We've gone out, we've absolutely dominated the first half, gone on the front foot, played really well, created out full of chances, scored one and nicked a goal right at the end. Then you come out second half, and like I've been saying for weeks and God knows how long an end, right, where'd you go from here? You've got a lead. Now you're looking to your characters and your leaders to go and see this over the line. And what happens? We fold. We melt. Because we've got no one out there who can grab a game by the scruff of the neck, dictate play, drag people in, get stuff done, and make people accountable. And we just wilted, didn't we? Because they're all too comfortable. They've all been too comfortable for too long. And he's got to see our entire season in the space of one game there. So I don't think this week could have gone any better for Taylor as far as assessing what he's got, what he needs, and how he needs to approach, addressing that squad. As far as the appointment, I think it's a solid appointment. For the time that it's taken to get it done, it needed to be someone like that. And I quite like the fact that it's, 3.5 years? Seems like something where you can really start to put building blocks in place and do something with that appointment, rather than 2 years where you literally, before you know it, the contract's up. But as far as from the time he's been appointed and what he's had to look at and done, I don't think this week could have gone much better for him. result isn't great, but it's a divvy cup, innit? It's no one's interested in it anyway. It's sort of, if we'd have won that game, it would have papered over even more cracks, and it would have taken even longer for him to assess what he's got. So I'm pretty glad the game went the way it did, to be honest, for Crawley.
Yeah, because I didn't watch it either. I was going to watch it, but then I thought I went and played five-a-side, and then got back, looked at the score. Obviously made 3 changes, but like you said, it just, and I done a post on my Twitter after saying, if you watched it or if you went to, let me know your thoughts. And basically everyone said that first half, so many chances, one-on-ones, good finish from Thomas. Obviously, I've seen the highlights. The only chance they showed in the first half was the one-on-one that Collins missed. They didn't show anything else apart from our goal. And then, second half it's been like it for a few weeks. Poor second half. But like you said, it is what it is out of the cup. Like you said, not many people cared about it. It would have been nice to win to get some confidence, I guess. Because that's what
I just don't think winning that game would have done us any favours. I just don't think it would have done us any favours in the long run.
Because because that's what 3 games without a win, you sort of, even if it is like a smaller competition that no one cares, you still want to win to try and, because that's what obviously Taylor is obviously hopefully going to change for us. Obviously apart from winning, what else, what are your thoughts on Taylor? Do you want him to do anything in particular? Do you want to see anything in particular? Obviously with me, I've already said on the other video and the other streams we've done, I like his philosophy. I like, he talks about in his interview about the young players and getting that sorted with the academy and stuff. But is there anything else you want to see from him apart from obviously getting to, win us football matches? And of course, let us know your thoughts in the comments as well. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, ultimately that's what he's here to do, is to win football matches with what he gets and what he recruits with. But as far as what I want to see from him, I just want to just let him get on and do the job he needs to do, because if there's any interference, he's not going to be allowed to do the things he needs to do. He needs to be able to get hold of that squad, address it, see who's with him, who's against him. There'll be plenty of noses that have been put out of joint. They've had a nice cruisy ride with their mates, basically, for a good few years. And now, things are going to change probably, considering the personalities. Like, I don't know him, and I didn't know Joey, to be honest. But so, I don't know anything about them as people, but I can imagine the day-to-day structure will be completely different, and people's, timings, what they do, the way they do things, and the structure of their week will change pretty dramatically, because there'll be some non-negotiables that weren't there previously, I'd have thought, with Taylor. So people are going to like it, some people aren't going to like it, and he needs to weed out what he thinks isn't with him and try and move them on. January's always going to be difficult, because if you're in a good whack, no matter who comes in for you, you're going to sit pretty and just go, well, I'm staying put, I ain't going nowhere. And you know what? That ain't nobody's fault. You signed a contract, do what you want. But he's got a good space of time now to understand what he's got that is going to be able to retain and take on the information that he wants to give to people. Because that's all Tuesday was. He didn't do anything dramatically, different. He had a look at as many as he could, seen who could take on instruction and retain the information that he's given, and he's probably learned, a little bit about him, is to say that, well, he didn't do what he was asked of. That didn't happen. That instruction didn't take place. And he got a sense of what he was looking at and a feel of, what he needs to work on and who he needs to work with. So I think it's all positive to start with. It's all positive to start with. But as far as what I'm looking from him, I just allow him to get on and do his job. And it won't be an overnight fix. There won't be dramatic changes straight away. I think he's going to take a little bit of time to feel out what he's got. And when a manager comes in, it's always a game of cat and mouse between manager and player, because there's a lot of false impressing that goes on to try and get your feet under the table with managers. And he's savvy enough to know what he's looking at when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Kieran West saying, do you think Taylor will bring any of the Exeter players he worked with? To be fair, a lot of all the good ones that he had have left Exeter. So no, I don't think so. But yeah, like you said, but I tell you what, it is crazy. If if you're a manager, you sort of want, I guess Cheltenham is one of the easier games if you look at the fixtures we've got, because the fixture run from now until early January is pretty mad. We've got, after Cheltenham, we've got Blackpool away, Bolton away, Pompey at home, Charlton at home, Wickham away, then it's Blackpool at home, then it's Oxford at home. It's crazy. Like, it's going to be mad. But like you said, obviously, looking into January, because really it's not that far away now, what sort of players, off the top of your head, and obviously what you've been watching, and let us know in the comments as well, obviously we know we need a striker, but apart from that, what else would you want to improve? What do you think? Because obviously it's been like it all season since that Clarke-Harris deal fell through the line, and obviously we were also linked with May. Probably a lot of you will, we'll see later. Jon done that post because he does it for the Cheltenham football club and does all the news like Dan Hargreaves does for us. Obviously interested in May, that didn't happen. He wanted to go closer to home. Then it was Clarke-Harris. I mean, apart from a striker, what else do you think we need? Obviously, personally,
I think what he said is pretty correct, really, and what Taylor come out and said as far as when he got asked a question about transfers in January. I don't think that we need to look at that squad and go, anything needs bolstering. You just need to get more out of what you've got. What we've got is adequate to, go and make a fist of getting towards that sort of playoff mix in and around it. I just think the level of performance needs to be raised. I don't think it's about bringing in better players. I just think it's about raising performance and giving them a platform and providing a structure for them to go and implement that on a Saturday. And that all comes down to man management and coaching and doing things a certain way. And I think he will implement that. But ultimately, as far as bringing personnel into the building, it's that guy up top. That is what is needed, because we don't have that in the building.
Yeah, I completely agree. Literally, there's so many. It's literally all the games. I know. Yeah, it's literally been all the games that even the games where we haven't been amazing, but we've like you said, and like many Rovers fans have seen throughout the season, even games where like the game at home last Tuesday, we were far from our best, but we had the chances to win, and it's been a story of our season, and you can tell obviously by our results that what sort of season it has been. Obviously, I'm hoping personally, and I'm sure many other Rovers fans will, that we can try and get in the playoffs. But with our hard run, obviously there's still plenty of time. You've talked about before that or basically just try and get yourself there or thereabouts with 10 games to go. But it's going to be a big test, because we're nine points off the playoffs, and you've seen the run. But we do usually do better against the better teams. But can we? It's all about turning points or should-haves into wins. So hopefully that can happen, basically. Also, I just want to obviously get your thoughts on the FA Cup. Obviously, the winners of us or Crew will face Norwich. What's your thoughts on that? Because obviously we done the preview last week. It got called off. Me and you are both going to be going to the Crew away game on Tuesday. What's your thoughts heading into that? Norwich away, another long away day if we do go through.
The FA Cup's a bit of a sort of selfish one for me, because we're never going to win it. We're never going to win it. Making money is all well and good in the cup, but as far as a football fan, when Norwich came out the I was more than happy for it. I always, when we get a cup game, I always want it to be on the road, and I always wanted to go somewhere I've never been before. So it suited me down to the ground. Like, yeah, we could have gone to City, United, but I just that don't really do much for me, to be honest. I'd rather go to somewhere like Norwich, or even like Goodison, some knackered old place. It's been there forever. It's got a bit of history behind it. I don't want to go to soulless bowl with a load of plastic fans at the other end. Norwich suits me down to the ground if we can get there.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah, evening to everyone tuning in. Nearly 40 people tuning in on the live. Do keep hitting the like button if you haven't. Like I said at the start, 50 likes would be quality. If you're watching back on the replay, keep up the support. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we're going to be talking about in the latest episode. Leave your score predictions as well. So we'll get onto that in a bit. Yeah, Chris saying I think left back. I personally think as well. I think some loan players will go back to their clubs. Do you think JCH will come in January now that Barton is gone? Well, I don't think it was, for one, I don't think it's anything to do with Barton. Do I think he'll come? It depends. It depends. Taylor could have a different vision. Taylor usually, if you look at his time at Exeter, especially goes with a younger squad in general, and that's even for how good Martin's been. Taylor could come in and be like, well, it all depends what's out there in it, Neil. Like with all this JCH talk, and obviously that's going to be the main talking point. Everyone will know that we're going to need a striker. Do you think we'll be back in for JCH, or do you think Taylor might have a different vision? Because obviously Taylor, JCH is going to be 30 in the summer. What do you make of that? What do you think is going to happen with that JCH thing?
Well, I said to you, weeks gone by after the deal collapsed, if they've got any sort of, if that board have got any sort of business sense, acumen, that deal should have got done the next day. It should have everything's in place, isn't it? Player wants to go, club wants to sell him, fees been agreed, terms have been agreed. Just get it over the line the next day, and he can come in January. Like if that deal isn't done in the first sort of 3 days of the window, it won't happen. There's no reason why that deal shouldn't have been done the following day and just gone, yeah, administration cock up. Let's get it over the line now, and we'll take him in January, because all parties are on board. Like I said, player wants to come, fees been agreed, club clearly wants him gone, not playing any games, on the bench, don't want him injured. Do you know what I mean? There's he will go in January. He will go in January, and if he doesn't come to Rovers, that is a monumental cock up by that board for not getting that done. Who doesn't pick up the phone straight after that and gone, right, we've nosed it up, rolled our hands on, let's get it done now, and we'll apologise. There might be a bit of an uplift for the problems we've caused, but it'll be minimal. Let's just get it done now. And then Jono's happy. It's just a waiting game until January. If he goes elsewhere now, that tells you everything you need to know about what has happened and how that got structured.
Yeah. Because obviously he's clearly leaving. Since literally a game or two after, it got collapsed and everything. I think there's been a bit of some Peterborough fans have said argument between him and Ferguson, but I think it's mainly just because their structure, especially it has been a lot in the past with Peterborough. They have usually gone for fairly young sides, but I've heard their owner McAntony say they really want their team to be young. You look at their youngest average team in the league. I think it's 22 or 23 or something crazy like that. So, and like you said, he's out of contract as well. So,
but to be fair,
they're not going to play him, are they?
But to be fair, you look at what Peterborough went and did. They signed his replacement on the same day. So can't keep hold of him. They did the only difference is Peterborough are good at doing the business and we're not. And basically they've double booked themselves because they've landed them a centre forward. They've had to keep on their books, keep paying their salary, and not be part of their plans really. And just try and keep him half fit and not get him injured for January. Because Jono's not going to want to be playing for him because he's going to go and want to hit the ground running elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So he's not really wanted there. He don't want to be there. It's a tough one. It's all Rovers' fault by the look of it.
Yeah, it's all just been crazy, that situation. Really. I mean, but obviously just before Jon comes in, what's your going into the Cheltenham game? What are you thinking? Obviously, Darrell, and another time that Darrell's coming back to the Mem with another team. Obviously, this time Cheltenham, he's got them a little bit better. But what's your main thoughts coming coming back to the Mem. Obviously, we're currently 6 unbeaten, although half of those games have been draws, half have been wins. Yeah, what's your thoughts coming into that game with Taylor? His first league game as well at home and in the anniversary kit as well.
Oh, the kit thing, I couldn't give a monkey's about, to be honest.
Yeah,
it does nothing for me, to be honest. But the as far as the game itself, that's 100% a game that Taylor's going to earmark to go and get 3 points. 100%. Going to get the side of a rock bottom of the league coming, to your place when you've got aspirations of getting close to that playoff mix. 100% a game that he's earmarked to win that game, whether it be his first, third, 10th, whatever. As far as, Clarke going in there off of the back of Elliott leaving, it couldn't have got much worse. He couldn't have done any worse. They were appalling. Do you know what I mean? Elliott basically sent him out there, it was a suicide mission. He had certain players that was playing it. It was go and be nice and tidy, play lovely stuff. And if you get battered, then you're getting battered playing the way I want you to play. It was suicide. Clarke's come in and the first thing he's looked to do, I think, is stop the bleeding, which is easier said than done. But they've been better without being decent. They've picked up a couple of decent results for himself, but then off the back of picking up a couple of decent results, they've got brave, gone and played a bit more on the front foot, gone and played a little bit more offensive, and then gone to a side like Wimbledon, got battered. So they've had to go back to what they know as far as digging in, being gritty, trying to fight for each other and get a result that way. And I think it's probably the best you can hope for from Cheltenham. I still think they'll go down whether he gets them better or not. Like they're going to have to get loads better. And I just don't think they've got the resources or the facilities to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Deadlift Plus saying JCH wants to come. However, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if anyone comes and outbids him as well after what it was all like, with everything that's happened. And yeah, it's been very costly.
That's what I mean. There shouldn't even be a bidding war going on. That deal should be done.
I know.
There shouldn't even be a bidding war going on.
I know, but it's Rovers at the end of the day, so we'll have to see. But yeah, keep hitting the like button. 43 currently live. We're gonna bring in Jon as well. Jon Palmer Sport is out on Twitter. And yeah, Jon, welcome. And yeah, thanks for coming on as well.
Thanks for having me, Charlie. Nice to see you, and Neil. How you doing? All right?
Hello, mate.
Yeah, all good. Obviously, big game for us. Darrell Clarke coming back to the Mem once again, and obviously Taylor's first game in charge. I just want to get your thoughts on what you actually think of the Matt Taylor, coming to Rovers.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant appointment. Yeah, I've obviously know him quite well from his time at Cheltenham. He was Cheltenham captain for a season. It wasn't a great season for the club, but he missed a lot of it through injury. 2014-15 season, he came in, was brought in by Mark Yates as club captain in the summer, and started off quite well. He was playing in a back three, good player, good professional. Then he had some injury problems. Cheltenham went through 4 managers that season and ended up getting relegated to National League. But I don't think Matt Taylor was really to blame for the relegations. But he was a great sort of character and pro, and a good leader, natural leader, I would say. Then I had a few dealings with him when he was at Hartpury, running their first team at the university before he went to Exeter. And again, he was just starting out on his coaching journey, really. And he had those natural leadership qualities that I saw him in as captain at Cheltenham, that Mark Yates saw to make him captain when he brought him in, having had a decent career up to that point as a goalkeeper and then a defender. So that's quite an interesting story. But it doesn't surprise him that he's done really well with his coaching career. Worked through the ranks at Exeter, got the first team job, got them promotion that they've been looking for a few years and couldn't quite get over the line. He got them up to League One. And then he took on the Rotherham job. I think he did a brilliant job there to keep them up. Paul Warne, who's got them promoted a couple of times, he struggled to keep them up in the Championship. And I think it looked from the outside a bit harsh that he got dismissed by Rotherham. Obviously, it's good timing for Rovers, and I think he's exactly what Rovers need at the moment. Probably the exact opposite of Joey Barton in every way, I would say. And I think he's got a chance of lifting him up the table. This is nothing against Barton, but I think Taylor will see the potential to improve results. Looking at the talent in the squad, I think they can have a surge. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little little flirt with the playoffs this season.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I mean, like you rightly said, that was a good thing to point out about him, his time at Rotherham, because that's the thing. In last year he kept them up. Literally most of the time, 90% of the time they go down, and obviously he kept them up. And it's always going to be hard anyway. I actually said in my video I was sort of surprised that him personally went to Rotherham, just because of his style and his flair and his attacking Exeter side, especially. I thought they've been one of the best sides in recent years to come to the Mem, and when we've gone to St James's as well. So obviously Rotherham wanted to try a different way, I guess, of playing, because their football is usually sort of hoof it, lump it, get it in the box, physical. So, but yeah, now he's at Rovers, and yeah, hopefully, I think a lot of Rovers fans, I said 6th at the start of the season, like you said, with the talent in the squad. Neil said, I think, sort of mid-table, and it's sort of been mixed with a lot of Rovers fans. I think a lot of them said trying to push into that sort of top 10. Some people said playoffs, like me. I'm always the optimistic one anyway. But yeah, I mean, getting on to Cheltenham, what's been your thoughts on their season so far? Because obviously they had a terrible start. I think they went some crazy amount of games without even scoring a goal, and then Wade Elliott dismissed, Darrell's come in. What's been your thoughts on the start of the season and since Darrell's come into the club?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They went 11 league games without a goal, which is quite some achievement, really, isn't it? For any club at any level, that doesn't happen very often. It's never happened in the Football League more than that. They equalled the record, nearly broke it, but did end the drought in the 12th game. But it was unbelievable. It was quite painful to watch, really, because they started off, they were quite competitive in games, but they were just getting edged out. They got a good point at Portsmouth, 0-0 draw. And then each game that went by that they didn't score in, you could just see the confidence draining away, and they just looked completely lost at one point, totally lacking any confidence, and looked a lot worse than they actually were. And obviously that started showing results. And I've got a bit of sympathy for Wade Elliott, because a lot of stuff went against him in the summer. They lost Alfie May to Charlton, lost a couple of other important players, including ex-Bristol Rovers player Ryan Broom, who went to Fleetwood. Ryan Jackson left to go to Sutton, turned down a contract at Cheltenham to go to the team now bottom of the Football League, which says a bit about Cheltenham's budget, I think.
Yeah.
And then he lost his director of football to Shrewsbury. The Shrewsbury director of football now, Mickey Moore, he took a couple of staff with him from Cheltenham. So it did feel like everything was going against Wade Elliott in the summer. But if you don't score for 11 games, then you're going to be in trouble, aren't you, as a manager at any level? So I think the change did need to be made, because it was looking like a lost cause. Less than a quarter of the season gone. They looked like relegation was inevitable already. But Darrell Clarke is really done even better than I thought possible in terms of turning it around and giving a bit of belief. 3 wins already in the league. You mentioned, Neil, the FA Cup drubbing at Wimbledon, but I think the league performance, that was a bit of an anomaly, and Al Hamadi was unbelievable that day. But so that may be exposed. There's still a few weaknesses and a lot of work to be done. But the league results, beating Oxford at home, drawing with Wigan, unlucky not to win, beating Cambridge at home, going to Port Vale, emotional day for Darrell Clarke and getting a win there. He's targeted 15 wins to stay up. He's already got 3. So by his reckoning, they need 12 more in the remaining games. And he's, everybody will expect Cheltenham to go down before the season even starts. Everyone will expect Cheltenham to go down when they don't score for the first 11 games. But I've actually started to believe that he can actually pull it off this season because of what he's done already in such a short space of time. There's still plenty of games to go. I think 12 wins from 28 is still a big ask when you look at the results so far. But he's had a huge impact, and I can see why he's a legend at Rovers. He's a legend at Port Vale. Why he's so popular. Why he's had 5 promotions, because he does get people, to use the overused phrase, running through brick walls for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you said, and not just us, but every club he's managed, he's done really well. And like you said, 5 promotions. And yeah, like you said, he's come in. You mentioned the Wigan draw a few weeks ago. Then you beat Oxford 2 weeks ago, 2-0, keeping a clean sheet as well. You narrowly lost to Charlton, and of course it was Alfie May that had to come back and haunt you with two goals. Neil, what's your thoughts, and if you've got any questions for Jon as well about Cheltenham in general, about Darrell, and let us know in the comments as well if you've got any questions for Jon as well.
Yeah, I haven't really got any questions regarding Darrell, but the one that raised my eyebrows was the Adam Murray one, and how that came about, because his coaching journey is bonkers, really, from where he's been, where he's gone to, and where he's ended up. How did that one come about?
Yes, I've just actually been doing an interview with him just before I came to join you guys. I've spent a couple of hours with him chatting about. It's the first time he'd done one post-match interview so far, but it's the first time I've actually had a chance to sit down and have a proper chat with him. And it basically was the right place at the right time. He got dismissed by Fylde, having won the National League North title with them last season. Not many people will go from Besiktas to Fylde, but that's what he did, because he decided it was time to give it a go as a manager again. And he did a brilliant job to get them promoted last season. Didn't start particularly well this season. He was available just at the time Cheltenham were looking for a new number 2. Him and Darrell Clarke haven't actually worked together directly before, but when Clarke was off at Port Vale with compassionate leave, Murray actually went in and helped Andy Crosby out a little bit, sort of covered for Clarke during his leave of absence. And obviously they went on to get promoted that season via the playoffs at Wembley. I think Clarke was impressed with what Murray had done in that interim period. Then he's gone away and got a bit more experience as a first-team manager, which he's done at Mansfield in the past. And he, like you said, he's got an amazing CV, Barnsley, West Brom, Besiktas. He's coached at other clubs as well. And I think he's the perfect number 2 for Clarke, because Clarke is a great man manager, motivator, will get the players up for it, get them fired up. And I think Murray's more comfortable on the grass doing the coaching work, doing the technical work. I think they're a good little double act. And I think looking at his CV and everything, and the timing was probably quite fortunate for Cheltenham. I think he seems like a really good appointment. And then Ashley Vincent is the other member of the coaching staff. So it's the 3 of them. Ash Vincent's a former Cheltenham player who's, I think he might have had a brief spell at Bristol Rovers, but he has been doing the academy, stepped up from the under-18s this season to become first-team coach. So it's a good little trio there. And I think there are signs that they're working really well together. And Murray, I think, is having a big influence in terms of the style of play and the tactics.
Yeah. It's crazy that Murray. I remember Neil. I can't remember what game it was, but Neil was telling me, it went from I think backup or assistant to was it Valentin Ismail at Besiktas, and then went to Fylde. It's just crazy, really.
Well, they're from Barnsley, didn't they?
Yeah, Barnsley, Barnsley, and then he went to West Brom after Besiktas. But right. Another question from the Cure Galore saying, curious to know what the change in attitude and morale has been at Cheltenham, since Darrell's took over. And I think you covered it a little bit, but it's been massive pretty much all over, hasn't it? He's given you that belief. I've seen a few podcasts with our ex-players, Mansell and Chris Lines, and they were saying, you'd do anything, with Darrell as your manager, and he just lifts everyone, doesn't he? Really, Darrell, just everything seems to get better, and like you said, run through brick walls for him.
Yeah, I think any Rovers fans are at the trophy game in September. I think there was only maybe 1,100 or so there, but that was a poor Cheltenham team. I think it was 3-0 pretty early, pretty early on, 3-0 comfortable win. 3-0 before half-time, and then Cheltenham got one back through an own goal, which was the only goal they'd scored up until when Darrell Clarke came in. And then I think there was another own goal from Cheltenham to make it 4-1, and it could have been more, to be honest. Cheltenham, even though it was a trophy game, it was still a fairly strong team that they put out. And I think Rovers fans will see a much better team than that on Saturday. They'll see a team that's more fired up, more confident. He's spoken a lot about getting them fitter. I know a lot of managers say that when they take over at a job. I'm not saying Wade Elliott was letting them get away with not being fit, but he seems to have sharpened everything up, lifted the standards. So I think Rovers fans will see a totally different Cheltenham team on Saturday. And he's just lifted everything. He's given belief, broken it down, made it simple. All about results at the moment. Doesn't really matter how they get them. He's not afraid to completely change things in the game. He made 4 changes at half-time at Blackpool and nearly turned around that game. Ended up losing 3-2, but had a really good go at them in the second half. And then some of the other games, he's not afraid to change formation a few times. Rovers fans will probably know that he will change formation several times during a game. He's not one to sort of wait for something to happen and be passive. He's very aggressive, and he knows that there's no point in playing for draws at the moment. They need to win a few games if they're going to have any chance of getting out of it. So, I obviously knew quite a bit about him before he came in, kept an eye on his career and stuff. But I still didn't think he was capable of doing what he's done in the first couple of months at Cheltenham. He really has given the fans' belief, got him on side straight away. No one's going to have a bad word to say about him at Cheltenham at the moment because of some of the performances. So they will turn up to Rovers. In that trophy game, I think they turned up just damage limitation. I think on Saturday they will turn up, still going to be a hugely tough game, but they will turn up believing they can actually get something out of it.
Yeah. I mean, and also, like you said, I remember the one of the crazy games we had in his, when we had the back-to-back promotions from the Conference to League Two to League One. In that League Two season, I remember at Carlisle away, I think we were 3-0 down after 20 minutes, and he made, I think, 3 or 4 subs, and then we got it back to 3-2, almost like what he did like you said, against Blackpool a few weeks ago. So, and like you said, you have turned a corner. 2 wins and a draw in your last 5. Beating Oxford. Bring that strength of character and belief to Cheltenham, and it will be. It's going to be very tough. Hopefully we can get the win, because if I was looking at it from a Cheltenham point of view, I'd be not confident, but it's sort of the right time at the moment, I think, to play us, just because it's been a bit mad over the last few weeks with all the manager stuff, and players having their own thoughts if they wanted to get Mangan in or not. So it's been pretty mad. I mean, Neil, what's your thoughts going into it? Again, obviously, with Darrell coming back to the men, it's hopefully, because I think I can't remember I think it must have been when he was at Port Vale, and I think it was the first time he'd come back to the men after leaving us, and a lot of people, were, because obviously he'd done so well for us. Everyone was going, mad about Darrell, but it was all focused on him and not Rovers, and I think we lost that game, and it was all, it wasn't good, and everything was poor. So what do you make of it, Neil, going into it with Darrell coming back to the men?
Yeah, I remember touching on the same sort of thing when we had to go to Port Vale and win in League Two to get that result, and he wasn't there for obvious reasons, but no one was to know that at the time. And I said in that preview, like, the sentiment needs to be lost. You know what I mean? It's about getting a job done, and then afterwards you can do all the nice stuff. But I think very much the same as Saturday, Astor will be about Taylor for us. It needs to be more about making that environment suitable to what we've got rather than what we had. And you can do all your niceties at full time. And let's be honest, Clarke will be in that dressing room saying exactly the same things. He's not going to go there. He's not going to turn up for a nice welcome and expect it to be nice. You know what I mean? There's a job to be done. This is a big boys game. It's not a kickabout on the downs, So I expect, if our fan base got anything about us, to make it an environment, the men can be. Go and get a job done, and on 90 minutes, do what you have to do afterwards. But ultimately, for both sides right now, for very different reasons, it's about 3 points.
Yeah, because like you said, Darrell will be saying the same thing. Yeah, he'd be saying the same thing. Question from Jamie saying, could you ask John if you could choose one Rovers player to be in Cheltenham's squad, who would it be?
Luke Thomas.
Luke Thomas, yeah, because he was at Cheltenham, wasn't he?
Yeah, brilliant player. He started off at Cheltenham in the youth team. I think he got his move to Derby at 16, 17. So obviously he's got Gloucestershire links. I think his family still live in the Forest of Dean. Yeah. So he did really well for Barnsley. Great loan spell at Rovers. Obviously had his dressing down from Barton the first time, and then he got another one this season. But he's such a talent. He scored the winning goal against Cheltenham for Barnsley last season. And when he's on song, he's one of the best players in League One. Wouldn't mind Aaron Collins either, but the Cheltenham strikers are doing all right recently. So, but there's some good players in that squad. Finley, there's Marquis has been at Cheltenham before. I know he's not necessarily automatically starting every game for Rovers, but he did very well for Cheltenham on loan from Millwall when he was young, and I've always liked him as a sort of focal point. But if I had to pick one, it would be Thomas. But Sercombe is playing out of his skin at the moment.
Of course, Sercombe is Sercombe's the other one. Yeah, I remember. I think it was last season, wasn't it, Neil, where there was a lot of talks come out that Rovers wanted to sign Sercombe apparently, and then next minute Elliot Anderson, not last season, the season before, in the League Two season, and the next minute Elliot Anderson was there on loan, and the rest is history. But Circum's another one where, done well for Rovers, and he'd be up for it as well.
Brilliant play.
Yeah. And like you said, Luke Thomas, he scored brilliant goal on Tuesday. And hopefully now he did have a bit of, I think he was obviously out for a while. He's come back in sort of the last 5 or 6 games. And he has looked good, really. I think if you was a Rovers fan, you'd probably say he'd be up there with probably one of the better players this season. Hopefully now he can stay fit, keep scoring more goals. That's all he just needs to keep adding. It's just output really, because he'll work hard. He just needs to try and, saying that, everyone needs to obviously score more, because that's where we've been struggling. We've been in a lot of games, we've dominated a lot of sides like Peterborough, Oxford, Barnsley, countless. But obviously I talked about before you come on, the story with Alfie May, Rovers. I don't know how close it was of him signing. I heard that he was at the training ground, the Rovers training ground. I don't know how true that is, but obviously he was one. And then we talked about earlier on, that's our big loss this season, is not getting a striker, because Collins has played a lot of the times on the wing for us. Even last season, where he was getting majority of his goals, I think there was a spell, especially when we played you and a few other games, where he was up front with Loft and he was on good form. But a lot of the time we played him on the wing, where he suits a big man. So, I'm not sure. But
Rovers won a 3 club.
Is he still there?
You might have lost him for a little bit.
I think we've lost Jon. Hopefully his connection just gone. So apologies for that. Hopefully he can maybe refresh his computer and he'll be back. But like you said, hopefully, we know that Thomas, he's been one of our better players this season. You'd probably say, if you had to say, who's been the top 3 this season, you probably would say Luke Thomas, wouldn't you, in that top 3?
Yeah, he'd probably go into that mix, to be honest. With the, don't know in what order, but he wouldn't. He'd be well within that 3. I'd have thought. Yeah.
Hopefully, he's just waiting. He still seems to be a bit laggy. I can see him in the background. Hopefully, it should be all right in a sec. I think it's still a little bit laggy. But I think he's back now.
Sorry, I was just saying about Alfie. So Rovers were close. They were probably second behind Charlton, I would say, because Gillingham didn't offer any more than 200. Rovers offered to match Charlton's offer, but May was always, quite keen to go to Charlton's, where his family's from. But Rovers it was a late last-ditch effort. They were close, but he'd already made his mind up on Charlton, living in sort of that area of southeast London, Kent, suited him and his family. But would have been a great signing. Look at the goals he's banging in for Charlton there. But Collins is a player that did really well for Forest Green. So in Gloucestershire, obviously, I've kept an eye on him, and I'm sure he'll rediscover his goal scoring touch.
Because he's been very creative, but he's just it's obviously a whole mix. But because obviously with Collins' goals last year, there's a lot of expectation of him to sort of go again and get big numbers. But I'm hoping, I'm still, I love Collins. Hopefully he can get back on the scoring touch in the league, and fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. Before we get into lineups and stuff, what would you say the strengths and weaknesses, the main strengths and weaknesses of Cheltenham would be in your opinion?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because a few weeks ago I'd have said weaknesses not being able to score a single goal, but obviously now they have scored a few goals, so that's one they've put to bed. They've only won 1 away game this season, so that's something they'll obviously be looking at. They've not picked up enough points on the road. They haven't picked up enough points in general, but they've got a couple of home wins now. So strength, Will Goodwin up front, number 9. He's playing really well. He's got 3 goals in his last 5 games. He's been really good. Darrell Clarke's brought out the best in him. They play the back 3, always the back 3 to start with, although we will change it in some games. They've been using that for a long time, dating back to Michael Duff, then Wade Elliott, and now Darrell. So they know the back 3 well. They got Curtis Davis in the middle, obviously had a great career, still really good player at the level, uses his brain. So I'd say they got quite a solid base. And then Goodwin is playing out of his skin up front. So Rovers will have to be careful of him. He's only about 21, 22, but he's a big lad. And he's Clarke's already said that he thinks he can play higher. Weaknesses, I'd say they've still got some key players out with injury, which could be a weakness. So 3 midfielders missed the Charlton game. Elliot Bonds, Curtis Thompson and Tom Pett all missed that game. So I think Clarke's hoping to have at least 2 of them back for Saturday. But if all 3 of them are out again, he's a little bit down to the bare bones centre mid, with Sercombe being the one who he really trusts and rates Sercombe. But there's a couple of others that are a bit in and out if he has to mix it up with the injuries. So that's going to be quite important. If Pett and Thompson are back with Sercombe, that's a really strong midfield. But the midfield at Charlton was a little bit less established, I would say. So that's probably that depends on over the next couple of days how they come through. And he did say he's hoping to have at least 2 of them available for Saturday. So that'll probably make a big difference to how strong Cheltenham are down the spine.
Yeah, definitely. Keep hitting the like button, though, people. We're going to get into lineups and predictions in a sec. 43 currently on the live. Obviously, if you're watching back on the replay, leave us your thoughts in the comments. Leave us your score prediction and starting 11s in the comments as well. I want to get your thoughts, Neil, on your starting 11 you would play, because Jack, Hunt, Martin and Ward were left out. I'm hoping they're not injured. Hopefully just rested. But yeah, what would your starting 11 be? And we'll get yours, John, as well. What you think the starting 11 for Cheltenham would be, and obviously Gas is in the comments, or if there's any Cheltenham fans watching, let us know your starting 11s as well. But yeah, Neil, starting 11 for you for Saturday.
Yeah, going off the back of sort of Tuesday night and it just being, I think, an exercise for Taylor to have a look at what he's got, see as many as he could with his substitutions and see who can take on instruction and retain the information they've got, and then going on to obviously lose that game in the second half. I think he's going to look to lean on his senior pros to go in, obviously make that a bit better, I think, Saturday, as far as information and instruction and carrying out a plan that he wants, to embed in that side. So I think it will be Cox in goal. I'd expect him to play Jack Hunt and George Friend at full back, Taylor and Wilson as centre half. I think Cheltenham, since Clarke's gone in there and he's tried to stop the bleeding, I think he's packed out that middle of the pitch. I think they've been really busy in the middle of the pitch as far as numbers. So I'll play sort of Evans, Finley and Ward in there to obviously try and match that up with Collins and Thomas wide of Chris Martin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, son. Yeah, 4-3-3. I can't remember what formation. What formation did we play Tuesday? Do you know?
It was pretty much 4-2-3-1, to be honest. But you can shout a formation out, but what you've got with the ball and without the ball is 2 completely different things. So, just whatever you say, the first half and the second half was night and day. So, trying to dig out the structure of what it was, it fell apart second half. So it's hard to really determine what the sort of instruction and plan was, because whatever it was, it didn't get carried out by the personnel out there.
Yeah, 100%. Evening to Gordo as well. Appreciate you tuning in. But yeah, what starting 11 do you think Cheltenham will go with, John?
It'll be Luke Southwood in goal, who's Northern Ireland international, signed in the summer from Reading. Definitely a back 3. Will probably be Owen Bevan on the right, who's the only one of 7 loan players in the squad who's actually getting in the team under Clarke. So he's gone with more experienced players. But Bevan's been doing really well on loan from Bournemouth. Was at Yeovil last season. He looks a really good player right at the back 3. Curtis Davis in the middle. Lewis Freestone on the left. Then captain Sean Long, right wing back. Left wing back Ben Williams. Midfield, I would say, pending fitness, I would say Tom Pett, Curtis Thompson and Liam Sercombe. And then up front, Rob Street suspended, got sent off against Oxford. So he's serving the second game of a 3-match ban. So it'll be definitely Goodwin, who's playing really well, and Aidan Keener, who record signing, came in January from Sligo Rovers. That's my best guess at the 11 if Thompson and Pett are past fit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. For me, I would go Cox in goal, Hunt right back, Wilson and Taylor centre back. Left back, I'd actually go with Gordon. I like the way. I like his performance against Leyton Orient. I thought he was one of the few standouts for us in quite a poor display.
Struggling, isn't he, for Saturday?
Gordon.
I think he came off at half time with a knock, didn't he? Tuesday.
I'm not sure because he made 3 subs at half time in that game.
He just looked like he was struggling leaving the field. He just looked like he was struggling.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't watch it. Well, so yeah, so if he did have a knock, then yeah, I'd put Friend in then as well. Friend's been good for us. Hopefully, he can just stay fit. Pushing 37 now. So, and then yeah, midfield, I'd also go with a. I'd probably go with a. If it was me, I'd go with a 4-4-2. But Taylor, I think he'll go with the 4-2-3-1 again. I think Martin will come back in up top. I would go Evans in the 10, Thomas on the right. I would go Collins on the left. I sort of want to play Vel, but I think even if he don't start, I think he's a quality impact player off the bench. And then a midfield 2 of Grant Ward and Sam Finley. That would be for me. I'd probably get a 4-2-3-1. Getting on to predictions, Neil, what are you going for? Confident we're going to get the win, first league, obviously game for Taylor in charge.
Well, it's hard to be confident, isn't it? Because it's a blank canvas now, isn't it? Complete blank canvas, and it's a start of something new. But ultimately, we're going to welcome a side at the bottom of the league. Granted, they've picked up a touch. I'd say, 1-0 Gas.
1-0. Clean sheet as well. What's your goal scorer?
Going on for Tuesday and what I saw, probably Luke Thomas, considering the amount of, the chances that he managed to, more or less create for himself, to be honest.
Yeah, Luke Thomas. Yeah, it'd be good to see him get a goal against his old club and get back-to-back goals. Chris is saying Luke Thomas apparently come off with a knock as well. That ain't good. Jesus, what's all these injuries, man?
I think if it's a niggle, you can
it's
through that niggle, on ice and a painkiller on match day if needs be. But the Gordon one just looked like he didn't look like he was walking great, to be honest, coming off. But again, that could be nothing itself.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully Thomas is starting. Chris is going 2-1. Martin Vel. John, what's your prediction? Do you think Cheltenham can get their third win in 6 and get their second away win, or do you think it'll be something different?
I'm not going to predict a comfortable win for Cheltenham away to Bristol Rovers, but I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw because Rovers. I think Rovers will be stronger and progress now between now and the end of the season. I think they'll be right up there, but I think Cheltenham, the way they've been playing recently, they'll be well up for it. Like you said, Neil, it can't be all about Darrell Clarke from Bristol Rovers' point of view, but the reception that he got at Vale, obviously that was a particularly emotional one for him, but he got standing ovation from all 4 sides of the ground before and after the game. And Rovers fans will give him a good ovation back, won't they, for what he did? But it is about Matt Taylor, and I think he's a great appointment. But I think Cheltenham will come away with the point, which they'd be delighted with at somewhere like that. Any point on the road for Cheltenham at the moment is a bonus. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 based on Cheltenham's recent improvement, and I'll go Circum because he is playing out of his skin at the moment, and he probably won't celebrate if he does score because he again, like Clarke, he's a legend at all of his clubs, Exeter, Oxford, Bristol Rovers, and he's going to be a legend at Cheltenham. So I reckon he'll get another one. He's got a couple of goals this season, and I think Rovers will get one. I think Rovers will take the lead, and Cheltenham will probably change formation 5 times and find a way to get an equaliser.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, all our 4 draws at home this season, I believe, have been 1-1, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, if it was going to be a draw, then yeah, that would probably be it. Get us your score predictions down in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Gordo saying Hart says 2-0 win, but can see it being 1-1, even 0-0. Yeah, I mean, for me, I had this one in my head earlier before we went live. I'm going to stick with it. I'm also going to go with a clean sheet for us, but I'll go 2-0 instead of 1-0. I think Thomas and Collins. I think he got was it 3 or 4 goals against Cheltenham last year? I can't remember if he got a hat trick away or a double. And then he scored.
He
at
got
home,
double,
so,
I think.
Yeah,
Evans
double.
got
So
2, didn't he?
what's that?
I think Evans got the other 2, didn't he?
I can't remember. It was so long ago.
4-0 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4-0 at half time, and then you won 1-0 in the second half. So
Second penalty, wasn't it? I think second half.
Yeah, penalty. So yeah, Tom Butler going 2-1. But yeah, I'll say that I think Thomas would be nice for him to back up a good performance with another goal. Oh yeah, Evans and Bobby Thomas, AJ Williams saying got the other 2. Yeah, so yeah, Collins double. So yeah, hopefully he can get another goal. That's it. It's been a while. I think it's been nearly like 3 months, I think, since he got a goal in the league. So yeah, hopefully that can change, and yeah, he can score on Thomas. Hopefully we get a clean sheet. It would be nice. We haven't had many this season. I think maybe 3 or 4 in all comps. So it's been a struggle. But yeah, just get the win. And yeah, on to me and Neil John were talking about earlier. Our fixtures after this game in the league are crazy. With Blackpool, Bolton, Portsmouth, Wickham, Charlton, then Blackpool again, then Oxford. That's our next 7 or 8 in the league. So whether one of the postponement games due to international break gets thrown in the middle with Fleetwood and Exeter, we've got to play at home. So, but they haven't put them in yet. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's pretty much. And AJ Williams saying, "Am I going Blackpool?" Yeah, I'll be going Blackpool. Neil will be at Blackpool. We'll be there -5 gas on Tuesday night at Crewe. So for the replay. So, but yeah, like I said, we won't be live Sunday because we've already done a Crewe preview. I know it's different things have happened, but we pretty much talked about it in today's episode. So we'll be back Thursday. But yeah, John, I want to say I really appreciate you coming on with the opportunity for coming on and giving us your thoughts on Cheltenham. It's been a good insight.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
all
no
the
worries.
best. Hopefully, good game.
Yeah, fingers crossed the win for us. But just a win in general. But yeah, like I said, thanks to John for coming on. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in on the live. If you did miss it or if you just joined, then feel free to watch it back on the replay. Keep up the quality support. Hit the like if you haven't already. And on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Subscribe. Check out all the our socials. Talking Gas Podcast on Instagram. Talking Gas Pod on Twitter. And hopefully a win in the match reaction on Saturday. Fingers crossed. But appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next one. Up the gas.